Most people think you need a six-figure income to be a millionaire. We never made $100,000 combined, and we still became millionaires by the age of 45. And no, we didn't start a business, inherit money, or get lucky on crypto. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what moved the needle and what didn't. We were just a normal family. Kids, mortgage, middle-class jobs. At 45, our net worth quietly crossed $1 million. Here's the crazy part. There was nothing extraordinary about our income or lifestyle. It all came down to three quiet, consistent decisions. And today, I'm going to break down exactly what we did and how we did it, so you can see how someone in their 20s, 30s, even their 40s can do the same thing. When we were in our mid-20s, we bought our first home. It wasn't fancy, it was just solid, affordable, and comfortable. We thought we'd upgrade in a few years, but we didn't. Not because of spreadsheets or extreme discipline. We just didn't feel the need. Friends were upgrading every 5 to 6 years, taking on bigger mortgages and new cars. We stayed. The gap between our income and expenses quietly became our superpower. I still remember our first 401k contribution. Small, almost invisible. We didn't know what we were doing. Index fund? Sure. Automatic contribution? I guess so. Done. Some months it barely felt like it mattered. But here's the kicker. We never stopped. Years later, the growth wasn't from what we were adding. It was from what we had already put in. It was time that did the heavy lifting. In our 30s, our income started climbing somewhat. Raises came in, and that's when lifestyle creep, it could have derailed us. Bigger vacations, nicer cars, trendier clothes, all tempting. I remember when we paid off one of our cars, the thought popped into my head. We could afford something newer now. And technically we could have, but instead of upgrading, we kept driving it. When raises came in, we increased our investing before we increased our spending. Over 15 to 20 years, that small gap compounded into real freedom. That gap turned into our 7-figure net worth. Now, there were moments along the way that really stuck with me. Like the time we found $200 in old gift money from family, and instead of spending it, we added it into our brokerage account. It felt silly, just $200, but years later, that tiny deposit had grown enough to buy us. We actually went on a week-long family vacation with it. Another time was when I picked up a paid coaching job at one of the local schools. Most people would spend that money on a nice vehicle upgrade. We invested it instead. That small habit quietly added tens of thousands over the years. The point is, wealth didn't come from big leaps. It came from hundreds of small, consistent decisions. The things most people ignore because they feel too small to matter. But over time, those tiny deposits, small choices, and small sacrifices, that's what compound into the $1 million net worth. That's why we hit 1 million at 45, and why it can happen for anyone who starts today. When our net worth crossed $1 million at that age of 45, it didn't feel flashy. No confetti, no sudden life change. Just 20 plus years of small, consistent choices. The ones no one notices. But everything changes when you add them up. And the magic wasn't luck. It was showing up. Doing the boring, sometimes frustrating work, year after year. Choosing long-term freedom over short-term comfort. Here's a simplified example, okay? Combined income was less than $100,000 a year. 10 to 15% invested annually. And that time frame was about 20 years, a little over 20 years. Even with modest returns, that strategy takes you to $1 million and beyond. You don't need a big salary. You don't need a business. You just need consistent, intentional choices. I also want to be honest with you about something. There were years when this didn't look like it was working. There were years the market dropped 20 to 30%. There were years our net worth actually went backwards. I remember logging into our accounts during one downturn and thinking, we just lost more this month than we invested all year. That feeling? Yeah, it's uncomfortable. And that's the moment that most people stop. But we didn't increase our contributions. We didn't decrease them. We just kept going. And looking back, those were the years that made the biggest difference. Because the money we invested when things felt scary ended up actually growing the most. And now, we definitely didn't do this perfectly. We made some mistakes. Yeah, we tried picking a few individual stocks early on. That didn't go so well. We waited too long to increase our contributions in our early 30s. We could have probably even hit $1 million earlier. And there were years where we drifted, where we weren't as intentional as we probably could have been. But here's the important part. None of those mistakes ruined the plan, because that foundation was strong. Automatic investing, reasonable lifestyle, time. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to avoid those catastrophic mistakes. Now, if I were 25 again, knowing what I know now, I would do 3 things immediately. First, automate investing from day one, even if it's small. Second, avoid upgrading my lifestyle just because my income rises. And third, focus on increasing income slowly over time instead of chasing those big swings. Because here's what most people miss. Becoming a millionaire isn't about intensity, it's about duration. It's not about having one great year, it's about having 20 consistent ones. If you're in your 20s, 30s, or even 40s, you can do this too. It's not about perfect timing or chasing trends. It's about starting today, staying consistent, and making small choices that add up over time. And here's the truth. Becoming a millionaire, it wasn't flashy. It was quiet, steady. It was 20 plus years of small, intentional choices. If you're watching this and you're thinking, I could never do that, I want you to know you can. Even if your income feels small, even if life doesn't feel perfect right now. We became millionaires by 45, and you can too. I created this channel, Master the Middle, to help people just like us navigate life, money, and career when you're right in the thick of it. If this information was helpful, hit the subscribe button. I also included links in the description to specific tools that have helped me along the way and helped us become millionaires. Feel free to check those out. And if you want some more tips and advice, those would be a great area to go to. Hey, I also want you to comment below. What's one small change you're going to make for your future self? Think about that. What's one small change that you'll make for your future self? Let me know. I read every comment. And please check out my other upcoming videos where I go in depth on mastering the middle. I'm Eric, and I'll see you on the next one.